Hello, it's Mary, and I'm back with another project for you. This time, I have been asked, as well as Kira, have been asked to guest design for the month of October for Cocoa Daisy. And we got these gorgeous kits, and they have this really pretty Kelly green and the mints. It's a very succulent theme as well. And when I first saw this paper by Paige Evans, this is from her Turn the Page. I really loved the subtle striped diamond shape with the inside of the pinwheels of this design that she has made. So what I am going to do is I'm going to fussy cut out a bunch of those, and then I'm going to decide which paper that I want to use with that. So I'm going through my kit and just picking out what I think will look good with those diamonds. I have this picture of my Abby girl, and she is sleeping with one of our throw blankets, and so I really wanted like a textural kind of background, something that reminded me of blankets or soft and cozy things. So there I have all of my little diamonds, which I don't use all of them, and I decided on this light kind of craft paper. It has a subtle green tint to it, and it's lighter than craft. There was also a craft 12 by 12 sheet in the kit that we got, a piece of cardstock, but this one was a little bit more green. So yeah, I just took some gesso and did the center area, which I knew that I wanted to have kind of a central cluster behind my photo, and I wanted just to add that extra kind of texture to the page. And now I'm just taking a baby wipe and smoothing out the edges a little bit so it's not so rough. I want it to be a really soft feel. And then I'm going to add my shimmers pasties in Peach Fuzz. And this matched the colors really well in this layout that I did. So I'm just running it over the wet gesso with my palette knife and blending it a little bit more. And then I'm going to take this stencil that I have, which is a floral stencil, and I'm just going to stencil in that top left corner and on the bottom right corner. Just a little bit of the flower stencil so it kind of peeks out. I'm going to clean up the edges just a little bit because sometimes the stencils it's really hard to get a nice clean edge, especially if it's more of like a positive space instead of a negative space. And then I'm going to add a little bit more pink in with some gelatos just around the edge. I'm going to smooth it out a little bit. Now at this point my gesso is dry. And that just adds just a little bit more touch of pink and another color into that background. So once I've got my background done, I'm going to take the diamonds and kind of place them around where I think I want them to go. And it ends up changing. I'm not gonna lie. I always kind of pre-plan and then it never really goes as I plan. It goes kind of how I plan. And then once I've got that all done, I'm gonna go ahead and cut down that paper and have this beautiful pink floral paper, which is the B side of one of the papers from One Canoe 2. I'm loving their Creekside collection. I'm glad that I got a couple pieces in this kit. So I'm just going to cut it down pretty evenly. I only take about 1/4 of an inch off of each side. But it's just enough to really see it peeking through. And it's going to look more than 1/4 of an inch because of the fact that I'm distressing the edges. And I don't really care if the paper tears a little bit. I really want this to have some serious texture to it. And the tool that I use for this, you can go ahead and use your scissors. That totally works. But the tool that I use is like a Creative Memories tool or something like that. It's a special tool that you actually use to distress your edges of your paper. So I'm going to back that paper up. And then once I've stuck that all down, I made sure that I put the adhesive down close to where I gutted that paper. That way I wouldn't gun cut my sewing machine because I am going to sew the edge. And I really like the 2 pieces that ripped. So I'm going to follow those rip lines with my thread, and I used a mint colored thread. I really liked the addition of that mint color. So I'm going to flip it up a little bit more with my fingernail, because once you run it through the sewing machine, it flattens the pages out again. So here's the picture that I am grabbing for today's layout, and I have a little backstory behind this layout. So it's a super sweet, subtle layout that you would think deserves a sweet and subtle picture. But this was actually a very hard day between my daughter and myself. And so hard that she hurt my feelings. She said some pretty hurtful things to me. And then she cried and cried and cried. And then she finally curled up on my lap and fell asleep. And it was the first time in a long time that she has fallen asleep literally on me, because she's 4. You know, that doesn't happen very often when your kids get older. But this time it did happen. And it just dawned on me that that was just exactly what she needed to be able to forgive everything that was going on. And for me to forgive her was that healing sleep. So I wanted to document this because I wanted to know that in these pictures that I document of Isaac and her and our family, that it's these moments that make us who we are. It's these moments that you realize as a parent that sometimes you just need to sleep. You need to sleep it off and wake up renewed and have a forgiving heart. And that's exactly what happened. And the rest of the day was perfectly fine. So I end up journaling about that. But as I'm putting papers down, I should probably tell you what I'm doing. So we got a couple of doilies in our kit, and then I used that doily, add another textural element, and then I used that mint colored paper. That was that was Pink Paisley's Turn the Page number 16. It was the B side. The other side had the birds on it. And then the plaid paper was the Cozy Plaid, and that was the One Canoe, Two Creek side paper. And that's the other side of that pink floral that I used to back the whole thing with. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the green and mint at the top and the bottom there, and that kind of grounds everything. And I'm just trying to build up my clusters behind my photo. I love that plaid paper because that adds another kind of textural feel, plus the doily. And then the diamonds kind of remind me of an argyle print. And it all goes with the blanket that she was wrapped in when she was laying on my stomach. And when you see the close-ups, you'll be able to see parts of me, but you can definitely tell that she is sleeping on me. So I'm going to get all of that down, and then I'm going to kind of evaluate what else I need to do. I just take my T-square ruler and line it all up. That makes that way it's all straight, and get everything really adhered well. I'm going to take this glassine bag that came in the kit. It had a wood veneer in it, and I'm going to use that as my photo mat. Figure it out if I want to fold it or if I want to unfold it or cut it, and I just decide to go ahead and adhere it down like that. And I do put it up on some foam to give it a little bit of dimension. And of course I put it on the wrong way. So I have to peel it off again and put it back down. I'm going to test it out, see if I want to add any more of the diamonds. And I do. I like having a few more over there on the left-hand side. I do end up taking that and stitching it a little bit more. And I end up putting one down there on the right. And I thought about putting more on, and eventually the one down on the right does not stay. I pull it off. I have this habit of putting things down and then pulling them off. I don't have a fear of committing to something until I've committed to it. So now I'm just running it through my sewing machine with the same mint colored thread, and I'm going to pull out these alpha thickers, and as soon as I saw the sticker sheet and I remember that there was the llama on it and it said no drama llama, that was perfect. How can you get more perfect than that? I mean, seriously, how can you get more perfect for that day? So I had to use it. And then I'm going to pull a couple more hearts out and scatter them around the page. I thought about using that feather, but it just didn't go anywhere. So I'm going to put it down. I'm going to pull it off. That's just what I do. That's my style. And then I do find a couple of pieces of ephemera in the ephemera pack. The brown one at the top, it says Another Day. So the title is going to be Just Another Day. Because it is. It's just another day in paradise. This age is so testing my patience. I was super excited for her to turn 4 because I remember when Isaac was 4, all of the drama went away. And then it was like he had logic. But no, Abby is feeling oriented 100%. And so she will never have logic. It will always be feeling oriented kid. There will always be drama with her. And I really love the colors in these thickers. These are, so the top ones have like this really pretty mint color and green and a coral color to it, and it looks like watercolor. And then the bottom ones are a wood grain with some white splatters on it. And then you get the hearts and a couple other elements in there. They're just really, really pretty. And they stick so well. I mean, so well that I almost ripped my paper trying to get them off because, you know, my fear of committing after I've committed. I have to pull it off again. So I finally get it down in the right way, the way that I want it. And then what do I do? I can't remember. I just stare at it. That's what it looks like I'm doing. Oh, okay. So I'm trying to write my journaling down. And I take my Sharpie, and because I used gesso, which is like it has more of an oil base to it. I mean, it is a watercolor. It reminds me of an oil pastel. And so when I take my Sharpie to go right on top of it, it wouldn't write on it. So I end up just using a piece of paper that I cut up, did my journaling on, and then I cut this journaling up in strips, and then I glue it on top of the journaling that I had done that wouldn't work. If that makes any sense. So it's not necessarily what I wanted down there, but it works. Not everything's going to turn out how you want it in your brain. And then what I wrote is, right now it seems as though you are testing every ounce of patience I have left in me. Today was no exception, but this healing sleep forgave all the drama. So then after I get done with all of that, I grab out my white ink splatters, and this is a Dr. Huey's white ink that I purchased off of Amazon, and I love this stuff. It is like perfect. So then I just take my paintbrush and I splatter it a little bit more because the paintbrush, when you flick it with the paint on, it gets tinier splatters than if you were just to drop it on with the dropper that it comes with. And that's going to be it for my layout, you guys. I've got some close-ups coming up at the end, and thanks so much for stopping in. If you're new to our channel, welcome. I share this channel with my crafty bestie, Kira, and both of us are guest designing this month for Cocoa Daisy. So if you like what you saw, which you should, because we're amazing, and why wouldn't you, then hit subscribe and like and leave a comment, because we'd love to have you on our crafty adventure. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.